I really enjoy the traditional classroom model. It really aligns with my personal style a bit, and so I like learning experiences where I can kind of sit at the back, choose the degree to which I engage, either by asking questions or note taking or what have you, and then glean what I choose to glean from it. I like the autonomy in that learning experience. But I know that what's more effective, fruitful, challenging for me is to be in the kind of learning experience that prioritizes and meaningful collaboration and actual discussions of my real context and applicability and authenticity. I know that that's better for me. I may not like it as much, but I know that it's a more fruitful and effective learning experience for me.
Okay, thanks. How have you typically applied professional learning in your teaching practice in the last 2 years?
I typically try very hard to apply. I tend to generally focus less on specific tools or practices and more on strategic priorities or philosophical orientation. So if a professional learning experience is about some kind of maybe new articulation or language around good practice in my subject area or in my context or what have you, then I try to walk out working for Monday, so to speak, by implementing it in new learning experiences that I'm designing and curating and trying to download it with my students. I guess that actually that answered the question mostly just was. I try to apply professional learning by applying it.
Right.
So I'm not really sure, I guess.
Have you had any professional?
My ability is, I guess, how I've done it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If how successfully is the question, then I think as successfully as I could.
Fair enough. Were you able to effectively apply the professional learning from the community of practice, new knowledge and skills during the research?
So I have been able to start kind of thinking through. So this particular professional learning has started influencing the way that I think and organize assessment in some of the course material that I'm developing right now around thinking about disciplinary literacy and thinking about curricular outcomes through this idea of disciplinary literacy as a lens. In my own, I'm one of the courses I'm working on is a kind of interdisciplinary course. And so one thing that I'm trying to roll out in that is focusing on and naming the different disciplines within that interdisciplinary course and teaching their different kind of reading, writing, and thinking modalities. And trying to anchor that to the curriculum outcomes. So, and it's mostly kind of given me a way of reclustering and remapping those curricular outcomes into assignments and units more deliberately and intentionally. So that's what's been rolling out so far. But it's been a little slow, but it's only been a few weeks, and we're all busy. So.
Absolutely. No, I think that sounds great. Did you acquire the intended knowledge or skill from the flipped professional opportunity that you were involved in?
I think so. I think I'm very comfortable with half of it because it kind of created this choice dynamic in its execution. So I think I walked out with a pretty firm head on my shoulders about disciplinary literacy because I had been kind of permitted in the construction and learning experience to kind of choose that as a pathway and a focus. And I think the other half of the learning experience was one that we all addressed, at least more obliquely, but isn't one that necessarily I don't know that I digested everything because I was given choice. I don't know that this is necessarily a bad thing, though. I think the intended knowledge or skill was the amount of it that's applicable and most relevant to my practice. And so in that dimension, I think yes. But the question of intent is ultimately about, I guess, the instructor's intent.
Right.
So,
right. What was the most beneficial aspect of professional learning for you?
I think for me, I think it really did focus the learning and the collaboration and the discussion on more meaty and significant and important strategic questions. Um, Rather than like reviewing definitions and examples of disciplinary or balanced literacy, it instead focused on um, making it work and applicability and things like that. And harder questions, harder devils in the details kind of questions. And I think it was a much richer learning experience in that way for that.
Okay. And one last question, which we've already kind of covered, but if there's anything you want to add to it, were you able to effectively apply the professional learning new knowledge and skills? And explain.
I tend towards the self-critical, so I think that there's I'll say that I feel like I've begun to make inroads, and I have more on my to-do list, and I think that's about where I'm at right now.
Thanks, John, for taking the time.
My pleasure.